Majo John Madden in the Boca del Rio area south of Veracruz, Playa La Bamba, right next to the Punta Azul Hotel, which has the wonderful Arita del Oro Cafe, where I've been kind of adopted by the manager of the restaurant, Luis Cordoba. I'm wanting to do a video about doing things for approval or doing things for God. I juggle. It's something that's new to me the last year. It started in Los Fresnos, Texas about a year ago. I noticed I'm a smoker and I would toss cigarette lighters up in the air. Guys do this. Guys throw things in the air and catch them. They just like to do that. Ball players. I spent thousands of hours as a kid as a baseball player. And there's a great scene in League of Our Own where Gina Davis is joining the team. And I think it was Rosie O'Donnell, just to kind of haze the new kid on the team, throws a hard baseball at her. And Gina Davis just, boom, sticks up her hand and grabs it. No problem. Well, I've gotten to be kind of like that after years and years of being kind of a heady guy who sits at the computer a lot. I don't do that anymore. For the last almost 4 years of being on the road, it's physical stuff, moving stuff around in the van, being kind of a gymnast in there. So I found that I could throw cigarette lighters up in the air and just catch them, and I got curious about that. What the hell's that about? So I started experimenting. I had some tennis balls in my van here, and lately the thing is limes. You can get limes real cheap, and they don't roll away. Here, rolling out in the road or rolling under another car is an issue. But I do this, so I juggle. And I'm not professional. There are guys in Xalapa juggling torches and 4 hula hoops at the same time, things like that. I will juggle one lime, but I'll do it with Latin music. And I've gotten really to be quite a fan of Shakira and other Latin singers. So if I do it with Latin music, I do it a lot better. In the morning, now it's about 11 and it's very quiet on the sidewalk out here. When I was doing it this morning about 7, the sidewalk was full of rollerbladers and joggers. I'm good. I'm really kind of astonishing what I can do, and I'm getting better every day. But people tend not to pay attention to you. People tend in general not to pay attention. Most people are caught in their own little worlds. And whether it's up here, it's kind of ritzy up here, a lot of affluent people. So they've got their fancy Apple earbuds on, or they're talking on the telephone, or they're doing their little exercise routines. They're in their own world. So I'm out here juggling my heart out, and mostly people don't pay attention. Sometimes people engage, some people get into it. Dogs notice me more than people, and little ones really notice. They get very curious, and sometimes I can get them engaged in the game of catch with me. But a lot of the time, people are just not paying attention. And I've learned to really enjoy it and tease about it. She doesn't care. They don't care. This person doesn't care what you're doing. And I go back to doing it for me, for the sake of doing it, because I'm learning, or for God, whatever that is. But I'm doing it not for the approval of the fans. I'm a dancer also, and I'm used to having people standing around cheering for my dancing. But sometimes they don't. Back in Asheville, almost 4 years ago now, the first year of the COVID, I was running the back roads of Appalachia in my old camper van. And I'd go back into Asheville periodically because I had friends there and friends in the homeless community. And because I travel in a camper van in most of the states in the U.S. that I visited, I was officially homeless. Yeah, she's got her little regimen and her earbuds. So she wasn't paying attention. Yeah, so on one of my visits to the homeless community, I met a black man. The way I met him was I was at a meal for the Haywood Street congregation. They do homeless meals. And outside, it was COVID, so most everything was outside. And somebody was in the U.S. they don't call it a bocinas, it's a big Bluetooth speaker. Somebody was jamming their speaker, and this man, stripped to the waist, I learned later he was older than I thought, maybe 50, but he was hard. He was so incredibly muscular. And he was dancing with such precision and such form. I just continually thought this guy could be in a modern dance company easy if he got discovered. I found out all kinds of things later about him, that he's a different guy when he's on meth, desperately different. But that night, I had this crazy harebrained notion. I was going to put together a dream team to go up to the Appalachia with me. I was having so much fun exploring the mountains. And my friend Eric was on the street and not doing well on the street. He had lived with me for a couple months and we'd become really good buddies. I was going to pick up Eric and get him to manage. I had this notion I was going to open a dance club in Burnsville. That never happened, but it was a big fascination, a preoccupation for a while. I was going to open this dance club. And I was going to have Eric, big strapping guy, 6'4", strong as an ox, to be either the bouncer or maybe the manager. I think I had that fantasy he would be the manager. So I was going to pick him up and take him out there. And then I was going to pick up a couple of the other homeless guys and turn their lives around by taking them out to the mountains. So this guy whose name, I've got videos about him. I've got his name somewhere. I can't remember. We're talking 4 years ago. But he was going to be part of the dream team. And I had talked to him about, you want to go out there with me? And he ignited about it. So that was earlier in the day. Later that night, we're talking Asheville, North Carolina, Buster capital of the U.S., and it was COVID, so most of the music had moved outdoors, and there had always been wonderful players, but at this point, everybody was playing outdoors. And I think it was a Saturday night, and it was right across from Pritchard Park, which was, during the COVID, the police allowed the homeless community to just take over Pritchard Park. And it was right across from there, right near Wall Street and the center of downtown Asheville, which is quite wonderful. And there was a whole band playing on the street corner, and a lot of people turned out. And among the many people dancing, there was my friend, who was just mesmerizing to watch because of the level of control. And my dance is more free form, more kind of wild and crazy. People were drawn to him. And I was giving a lot of attention to a young kid who was maybe 7 or 8, but he was really doing his hip-hop chops out there. So I was giving him lots of props and focusing the attention on him. Wow, here comes the rollerblader, who is so good. Look at this. Look how perfect she is. I have a history of being a rollerblader, and I was pretty good, but I don't think I was ever that good. Wow. So I gave her the thumbs up, but she's in her own world. She's got her music on her arm. At least you can hear her music. So that was my first really clear experience of when it was clear to me that nobody was noticing me in spite of the fact that I'm a hot dancer. It was a beautiful night, and I'd just look up to the sky and say, God, this is for you. I'm dancing for you. And I go back to that, and it's really important because part of what's helped me get free is to not be motivated by other people's approval or adulation. And so every day as I juggle out here, and I'm more and more going to be doing it on the beach, where things won't roll down a grate or out in the street or under another car. Who are you doing it for? It's kind of a bottom-line question, isn't it? Who am I doing it for? And that gets back to the question of who am I? So if who I am is spirit, if who I am is one with everything, then what other people think or say doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. That's not the bogey. That's not the feedback you're looking for. Okay, feel about done with that. Thanks.